Hello. Well, I guess we have no other option.
In the dark of midnight, I sit stuck upright. With cotton mouth, I can use a sip. As the shadows stare back, a voice calls out to me. Then a light out in the street reminds me of your perfume. Smells just like green velvet. Let me feel your touch once more. I wanna see you again. 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 And I know you don't think it's very likely, and I know you might not want me there. Now I hope you see how far I've come. I hope I can go forth and not be scared. It seems everyone has eyes for you. It seems that you never really cared. But I think I've got something that they just don't have. I wanna see you again.
Dude! Welcome. Yeah, we're starting. Welcome to the SimStation Internet Football Podcast, Season 3, Episode 2. My name is Travioli Prime, as always. Joined with my co-host, Mr. Poutzilla, as some call him. Reed Skeleton, how we doing?
I'm a sad puppy.
That makes me a sad panda. We are here after a very exciting Fantasy Week 1 with some matchups that literally came down to the wire.
Oh yeah, very exciting. I'm very excited.
Hey, you are very excited. Whether or not you're happy, we all know you're excited. Get those waiver wire moves cooking, Reeves. You've got this.
Yeah, woohoo.
We had some blowouts. We had some not blowouts. Some crazy kickers. Some Tyreek Hill getting arrested for speeding. I don't know.
Yeah, why was that? I didn't actually look into that. What happened there?
He was just driving. They pulled him over for speeding and not wearing a seatbelt. And the cop was being rude to him. So he rolled up his window and they basically just got pissed and threw him out of the car onto the ground and handcuffed him.
Did they know it was Tyreek, or they just thought it was some guy?
I have no idea.
An African American individual that they needed to detain.
Well, those people are never poorly treated by the police.
Yeah, the police have never done anything wrong before.
Okay. Before this is turning into
Off to
a
a great
different
start.
podcast.
Sarcasm, you guys. Sarcasm. Don't worry.
/S.
Yes.
/serious.
We need to make sure everyone knows.
Before we start, we actually did do pick'ems last week. We just kind of forgot to put it in the episode because we were running low on time. So for standings after week 1, Reeves went a perfect 6-0.
Oh, you're supposed to mention that last.
No,
that was the big
you're
part.
at the top of my sheet.
That was literally the only thing from fantasy I was excited about. Everything else I was like, God, this fucking sucks. And then I'm like, I went 6-0. I was I think it's the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah, well, you're at the top of my sheet, so I kind of just had to go for it.
Sad.
Let's see. Alex went 5-1. I think the only one he picked incorrectly was Spencer.
It was Trisha, I think.
Yeah. You picked Trisha, he picked Spencer.
Yeah. Oh, right. Same matchup.
So
right,
he missed that. I went 3-3. Shockingly.
Oh, what
and
happened?
Wyatt went a solid 2-4.
Oh shit.
Just saying, he got last. He's the only person that picked against me. So clearly there's some correlation.
I knew that you would win with 94.8 total points.
I think it was 9th in scoring. It was pretty rough.
Yeah,
8th or 9th.
You're 9th. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fucking trash.
I swear to God, that's my year every year. Is I just score like shit and somehow win matchups.
Sometimes that's how you do it.
It's
You
rigged.
gotta do it that way. Easy clap.
But yeah, we'll be keeping track throughout the season. Even when hosts aren't on, they'll be making picks. So I do have Wyatt and Bengals picks for this week. But before we get onto that, we'll focus a little on some of the fun matchups from last week. I guess we'll start with the biggest blowout, and that was Trisha putting up 131 points against Spencer. Saquads was fucking insane on Friday.
Yeah, can we talk about how you guys ranked Trisha mid to low? And I knew, maybe I haven't been great with some other things, but I knew Trisha's team was fucking stacked, and you guys suck.
Listen, I may be heavily regretting my choices from Trisha's power ranking. However, the points that I made in the episode did hold true. Tank Dell, pretty mid. Njoku, not great.
Not pretty good comparatively.
Yeah. And, Waddle was a lot better than I thought. But other than that, it was just that Kenneth Walker had a really good week. Saquads had a really good week.
Yep.
I think our team is pretty high. The ceiling's pretty high because she has a lot of pop-off potential. I think I missed that.
Yeah, especially if like CJ Stroud and Tank Dell go off for a week, like that's going to be like 60 points in a week. I mean, maybe not 60, but 50 points in a week. Maybe. Yeah. It'll be a lot. And it's probably going to happen at least once.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't even get that good of a game from CJ Stroud, which is a good sign that her skill players are able to carry her.
Yeah.
On the other side, Spencer's team struggled.
The only thing that's making me happy because my team is so fucking trash is that some other teams, God, they were fucking butt. They were.
Yeah, it's tough when Spencer's highest score was his flex.
Ramondre
and second was his defense. It was, luckily Spencer wasn't looking at fantasy much this week because of his stupid job. But, that was a tough look.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we thought we kind of got his team sort of right. It's just his receivers had a terrible week, and Mark Andrews obviously had a fucking horrendous week. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. But everything else we were pretty much in the ballpark for. Like if he starts Jaden Daniels, I think if it's fine. Like it's better. He's still gonna lose, but right. So it's like it's whatever.
On the bright side, I think he probably has one of the deeper running back rooms if Tony Pollard continues to be okay.
Yeah,
he has 4 legitimately playable running backs.
Yep. I mean, I think especially if Kenneth Walker is hurt, he's 5.
Yeah, true. And I think Jaden Daniels is, whether he's good or not, I'm not sure, but like in fantasy, he's gonna be okay.
Right, in fantasy is very good. Yeah. I mean, your first game, 88 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty good.
It was a lot of garbage time. We were watching that because we were at a bar with Commander. Yep. It was a Commander's Watch bar.
You went to what?
Well, not like a specific Commander's Watch bar, but like it was a sports bar, and it was all Commanders fans at the sports bar.
That sounds like a specific Commander's Watch bar.
No, I'm in Washington. So the general bars are either Ravens, who didn't play, or Washington.
I didn't think anyone liked Washington.
It's few and far between. If the Ravens were playing, they probably would have been showing that game and not this one.
That's fair.
But yeah, it was definitely a lot of garbage time. But
yeah,
if he can keep rushing the ball like that, I mean, he had like 17 or 18 carries, something like that. 16, which is a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty high volume rusher.
But yeah, I ranked Spencer pretty highly in mine. I think I had him like 3rd or 4th, and I am not scared of that yet. So
yeah, I mean, he could definitely like bounce back from this. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think his receiver depth is god awful. So if like anything, if his receivers continue to be bad, he may have no hope. But other than that, like his running backs are deep enough to get him somewhere.
Yeah, that may be a trade situation where he trades one of the, especially if Kenneth Walker's hurt, you trade Charbonnet, something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know what matchup speaks to you out of this.
I thought it was funny that CMC didn't play, and Becca's team still got third in points and went to the moon. Like she didn't even, not even close to full strength, and she just casually gets third most points by a pretty decent margin. Like she still beat a lot of players. So, yeah, I thought that was funny. Although unfortunately on the other side, which was equally funny, we're once again Brett's wide receivers. Man, these teams at the bottom and their wide receiver luck, yeah, not great. But once again, really good running backs. What the hell is this? Really good running backs and receivers just. Oh man, they're bad last week.
See, I think it's the first time we're seeing, or it's time number 4. It's not the first time. Every single year, the team with Josh Allen has been in every game, right? Like
Sure.
Josh Allen is an automatic, like you're going to be in 40% of games that you shouldn't be in.
Yep, it's pretty fucking stupid.
I think the first year Bengal had him, made the finals. Second year Sharksy had him, semifinals.
Yep.
Third year Wyatt had him, semifinals.
Third place. Yeah.
Yeah, and now Becca. I mean, Josh Allen is a human cheat code. She just needs some of her other supporting cast to be better.
I know we keep doubting, or I guess the general fantasy community will sometimes doubt Josh Allen, like he's gonna fall back to earth. At what point do we just start drafting Josh Allen like in the top of the second round of the first round?
Yeah, almost like with Travis Kelce, where it's like,
right,
even though you're overvaluing the position, but like he's so much better than everyone else at the position.
Yeah, exactly. Which obviously can come back to bite you because as soon as you actually start drafting him highly, then it's oopsie, he falls off a cliff and he's not worth anything anymore. Well, he's worth something, but not near his first round value or second round value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Stephon Diggs also. I mean, he seemed to me like he didn't get like that many targets or yards. He just got touchdowns. So I'm not really sure what to think about this pick still.
He got 9 air yards. Tank Dell and Nico Collins got like around 100, and Stephon Diggs got a total of 9. But he still got 6 receptions and 2 touchdowns. So like, could be a decent flex, could have a decent floor. Like I don't know, but probably not the deep ball guy because you already have 2 guys that can do that pretty decently.
I also so Becca started B. Allen at running back.
Braylon Allen is the New York Jets backup because they didn't announce that CMC wasn't going to play, which would have helped me. I would have won my game. But they didn't announce that CMC wasn't going to play until like an hour before, and that was like the only player that she could pick up basically.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for her because her running backs are not good. Outside
They're not. And, it's funny. Her running back scored 7.2 points, which is, I'm going to say, is really bad, but also her floor. Maybe like close to her floor, maybe. And yet she still got third in points. Like, what the fuck is this? This is such bullshit. It
was a weird week. Yeah, I think the receivers like all around just kind of sucked, except for like Tyreek Hill and a couple others.
I think that's just general passing yards and volume in general. Whereas, the Dolphins, thank you, Jaguars. The Dolphins threw for like over 300, and everyone else was, most teams were like sub 200 passing yards, which is pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah, I think Anthony Richardson had like 200 yards on 9 completions or something.
He did,
yeah, crazy.
Sounds about right, yeah. Yeah, one of them was like just like an 80-yard bomb. Jesus Christ, did you see that?
Dude, he's like falling backwards and just launches it. It was like 64 yards in the air when he's falling backwards.
That's disgusting.
He's like a human freak.
But then again, all he can do is just chuck it deep and run. So
yeah,
we'll have some spike weeks, have some low weeks. We'll see.
I think my biggest takeaway from this, I was kind of doubting Joe Mixon this offseason because he went absolutely crazy. I don't know if it's a matchup thing, but 30 carries. There's a lot of that's insane usage. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt, I guess, because he's older now. But if he can keep up that level of volume,
I think one thing that was still a little appealing with Joe Mixon was that he was older, but also I think he came into the league at like age 20 or something, kind of like Josh Jacobs. I think he's only 26 or 27, so he like hasn't technically hit the age cliff when age really, really catch up to you as a running back. But I agree. Let's hope he doesn't get hurt, but looked pretty good. P good.
P good. He's 20. He's 28 right now.
Oh, he's 20. Oh, that's actually older than I thought. Never mind. Well, maybe he will get hurt. Rip.
But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of volume. That could be great for Brett. I mean, Brett could have like two of the better starting running backs in the entire league.
Yeah, I think we expected, right? I think we expected him to have pretty good run. Maybe not like the best two, which he actually might have, but we expect him to be pretty good. Just unfortunately, his receivers, or at least you expected his receivers to be bad or mid. I expected his receivers to be better, like not the best, but better. And yeah, Marvin Harrison is his first game, and he was wide open, and Kyler just didn't throw him the ball.
Okay, I was about to ask about that play because I have Marvin Harrison in 2 other leagues, by the way. So I'm watching this play in the sports bar. I'm like, or it's Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, he's right. Kyler! And Kyler's like scrambling to the other side. It's like, please.
That was going to win in the game, too, right? Or it would have tied the game, I think.
You know, it tied or brought it into one score. It was still a competitive game.
Right, yeah. I think it was like a 1-1 score. Yeah, that was a rip. I was kind of expecting all of the volume go Marvin Harrison pretty immediately. That didn't happen. Maybe it will later in the season. But Chris Olave, this is just funny. Because the Saints, they scored 47 points, Travis. They scored 47 points, and Chris Olave, 2 receptions for 11 yards.
It's hard to say, like, because they were up so early, so quickly. Right? Bryce Young threw a pick on the first play.
Yeah.
They were up so fast. Kind of like with CeeDee Lamb, where they basically just didn't use him in the second half.
Yeah, but CeeDee Lamb still had, like, 11 points.
Well, I agree with you. Okay, CeeDee Lamb's better than Chris Olave.
Apparently way better than Chris Olave.
True. But yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch, to see if the Saints are actually, like, whenever they have to play from behind. I think they play the Cowboys this week. So it's going to be another tough matchup for Olave to come in. So we'll see. I think we're going to Chris Olave watch. Yeah. I don't know who Brett could even start, though.
Christian Kirk was ass, too. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm going to read his wide receivers. It just makes me laugh. Top to bottom. And how they did. Marvin Harrison, 0.9. Chris Olave, 2.1. Christian Kirk, 3.5. Cortland Sutton, 5.8 with Bo Nix throwing him the ball. Mike Williams was on a snap count, 0.
So his
and that's it.
Four receivers had under 10 points. 6.5 points. Or no, okay, a little over. His 5 receivers had about 12 points. Okay. Okay, moving on from that one. I think the crazy close game with
this is my coping mechanism, by the way, because we're gonna look at my team and I was about to cry.
Yeah, that was the game I was gonna go to next. It's the crazy close game between Benglewood and Reeves.
Oh no.
I thought this was an upset. Cooper Kupp went fucking crazy.
Yeah, guess what? You take Puka out of the lineup and Cooper Kupp isn't hurt. He goes to the moon. Yippee. Wowza.
Yeah, I mean, 21 targets. Alex loves to see that.
I'm pretty sure he picked him. He's like, I haven't picked Cooper Kupp before. He's a good player. Sure. He just clicked that button. Like, damn it. I want to kill myself.
I don't know what to think about his Dolphins, though. Like, I didn't feel like HM was that good. He just had that one 50-yard catch or whatever, and then he was kind of shit the rest of the game.
See, I disagree, because obviously as a runner, he wasn't the best. He had 76 receiving yards. Like, he was their third receiver. Actually, he might have been like their second receiver. Like, he was used a ton. I mean, you watched the game, I'm sure. Like, he had 7 targets for 76 yards. He looked really good. He got all the red zone work. So he's still A-chain, so he still could get hurt. He didn't rush that great, right? 10 attempts for 24 yards. Not great, although the Jags D actually was really good against the run. Fucking Foye was popping off. But I don't know. I actually, after this game, I really like Achane because it seems like he actually would have a pretty solid floor and ceiling because of both the touchdown possibility and because of the receiving usage.
And arguably the best thing that happened to him this game was Mostert getting injured.
Yeah, right.
That's the fear is Mostert's going to take away the red zone work.
Sure, yeah.
But it didn't really happen in this game.
No.
I don't know. Maybe the Jags defense is just good, but like...
It looked good. They were getting to the ball. It looked fucking good. But no, I agree. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, Tua, I guess, he got a lot of points on that 180-yard play to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tua. It's what we thought he'd be. He doesn't run the ball. He passes a lot. He has a couple weeks where he get like 30. Everything else he's going to be like 16 points. He has Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert's offense isn't better. So like, when is he going to start him? Probably. So, yeah, I think obviously Kupp and Achane are probably the big winners from this.
And J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, yeah, right, and J.K. Dobbins. Duh.
Hard to forget him.
Right, as I'm looking at him, what the fuck? 135 rushing yards? What does he have, like 9 rushing? What is the 10 rushing
10
attempts?
carries, yeah. It was really a crazy game. It's always been health with him, right? Like you're drafting like a brittle, like the guy from SpongeBob with like paper arms and glass bones or whatever.
Yeah. Or what's his face? Samuel L. Jackson from that M. Night Shyamalan franchise or whatever. I only saw the split, but you know.
Oh, the Glass. That's what it is.
Glass. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, this week just looked really good for Alex because like the depth was a question, and if J.K. Dobbins is real, and the rest of his starters play like this, and Najee got 20 carries also.
Right.
So like,
now he didn't do anything with it, but he still got 20 carries.
Yeah, I mean Justin Fields. That was a weird ass game. Justin Fields was not. I don't know. The Buffalo Wild Wings I was at was like they had that game on volume, and the announcers were like kind of like gassing up Justin Fields before like every time he'd throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field, even if it was incomplete. They're like, "Oh, open up the playbook a little bit for Justin Fields." It's like
That's
please
hilarious.
Stop. He missed the throw by 10 yards. Cut it out.
I guess this is a little to be expected. I did enjoy that like half of his passing yards were to George Pickens. But, I mean, that's kind of what Justin Fields does. He just stares down one guy and can't throw for anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Banglewood's looking pretty decent for the beginning of the season. Unless, of course, I don't know, Achane is out this week because he is questionable. But I don't think he will be. Even so, I think he's probably out. Right, because now we can like start J.K. Dobbins over Calvin Ridley. And if J.K. Dobbins continues to do well, he's got Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, and J.K. Dobbins. I don't want to face that team. And then Cooper Kupp, right, when Puka's still out. And DK, like DK didn't have a great game, but Denver's still good, right? I don't know. This team looks pretty decent.
Yeah, no, it's definitely scary. I am concerned because I'm pretty sure I ranked him my 8th. Not my best. Move.
I think I rated him like 6.
I think on your team, I mean, obviously the Puka injury is very sad. And even though Jalen Reed popped off on the bench without Jordan Love, who knows how that's going to work.
I mean, fuck.
But
like
Dolphins legend Jason Mason. It's not Jordan Mason. It's Jason Mason.
You're right. Honestly, that's probably about the only thing I'm happy about. that CMC is still hurt and Jordan Mason is going to carry me. I mean, he was on the bench, but it's fine. But yeah, going forward, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because now guess what? I don't have a receiver. I went from, I like my receivers and I like my receiver depth to I have no receivers because Puka is on IR. Drake London, I guess Kirk Cousins is washed.
So hard to watch. It's like, Jesus. Because like he was in pistol the entire game. He never went under center.
Right, and he just didn't move.
I don't want Kirk Cousins to play at a pistol. I don't know. That's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Right, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed went to the moon. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. And then the very end of the game, oopsie, Jordan Love's hurt now. You can't play him anymore. Oopsie, you also have Christian Watson. Can't play him either. Oopsie. I have no one. I don't know what to do. So, yeah, it's... Oh, and Dalton Kincaid, I mean, he had good usage, but his targets and points were absolutely fucking god-awful. And when you draft a guy decently high as a tight end, you want him to be good. And so somehow, everything that I thought was going to be decent is now bad, and everything that I thought was going to be bad is now decent. And I don't know what to do.
Well, I think you have you have a decent floor.
Do I, Travis?
With
Do I?
Lamar and with Jahmyr Gibbs and Brian Robinson. I think it's a solid core. And the receivers
Brian,
is questionable.
you just included Brian Robinson as as part of my solid core.
I think Brian Robinson is better than we gave him credit for.
Oh.
Because that team doesn't really throw the ball that well. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. Hopefully, after a few weeks, because they're not even putting Jordan Love on IR, I think.
Right.
So he's probably only be out a few weeks, and after that, your depth will look a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I'm kind of hoping that Jordan Love comes back after 3 weeks, and when he comes back, he doesn't look terrible. If he comes back and he's like, "Oh, I'm injured, I'm playing badly," that's not good. Then I'm fucked. If he comes back, I'm like, okay, then and he plays decent, then it's fine. I think Jaden Reed will be okay. But yeah, I'm pretty disappointed because Jaden Reed I liked that he's a little sneaky pick of mine, and now he's butts.
You know, it's crazy. I also hope Jordan Love comes back after 3 weeks.
You know what, Travis? I think we should segue to your game.
Do we have to talk about this? It was so bad.
I think we do. I think it's a beautiful game. It really demonstrates just what an excellent fantasy player you are. And your sheer determination. Just
all
won out.
of the skill that I demonstrated this week by not playing against Joe Burrow. That's one of my big things I'm hyped about is this week my anti-Bengals, anti-Joe Burrow takes look very, very good.
Yeah, but it's for 1 week.
Don't care.
That's fair. That's fair.
Don't give a fuck.
Take it. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Joe Burrow,
cash that check, baby.
And it didn't look like the Patriots defense was doing anything crazy. It was like the Bengals were just bad. I mean, Jamar Chase still looked good, but he was even locked up by what's that guy, Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Joe Burrow just didn't look like he had it. It was a rough day for Business' entire team, realistically.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what I thought it was, right? Like, I guess we kind of figured that Joe Burrow potentially might not start that great. We kind of thought this was exactly what we were going to get out of receivers. I thought this was pretty much exactly what we're going to get out of Zamir White. And then we got like a floor game out of Laporta, Bijan, and Josh Jacobs, which is both good and bad. It's good because I think Bijan's going to be really good. And if this is a floor game, he's going to be insane. But then Josh Jacobs doesn't have a quarterback. And, yeah, I don't know. I think her team looked fucking bad this week. And then also, I guess she had some bright spots on the bench. But a lot of question marks still. It's a little worrying.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for her, if Jameson Williams is like a real flex player, 9 targets this week, Amonra only had like 2 or 3.
I think he had 6. He just only had like 3 catches for like nothing.
Dang, all right. But yeah, I mean, that gives her, because I hear White's a pretty terrible flex option.
Yeah, right. It gets Zamir off the team. Right.
So if Jameson Williams can actually play in that slot, that'd be really great.
Yep.
I mean, I had this team power ranked last, mostly because of the reasons we're seeing, where it's like, oh wait, our number 1 receiver is a number 2 on his own team, and the running backs have some questions.
The number 2 receiver doesn't have a quarterback, and
I didn't like Joe Burrow and Zamir White and all these things. So I think it's better than what it showed today, mostly because, I mean, I would not expect Bijan to touch the ball 23 times and not find the end zone.
Yep.
In a game, that was pretty surprising. Like,
and like this is also the worst. I mean, potentially the worst that offense should do all season, right? Because let's say Kirk Cousins can't get any worse, and if he does, you bench him for Penix, who probably isn't worse than what Kirk Cousins did. I don't know. And so this is probably at least close to an Atlanta floor. And yeah, if Bijan's going to touch the ball this many times, if the offense improves at all, you'd be pretty happy.
Yeah. And on the other side, I think my team, I mean, outside of CeeDee Lamb getting basically benched in the first half, just because they were up so high, I think this team is pretty much what we expected. Receivers good. ETN was okay. Jameis Williams sucked.
ETN's
Ugh.
ETN split like 50% of the snaps with Tank. The only bright spot for you was that ETN got all the red zone work and then fumbled it away, and then had all of the receiving work. So it's good and bad, good and bad.
I don't know what to think. I'm not exactly positive on my running backs right now.
Javonte Williams is. I mean, granted, I'm pretty hyped for the Seahawks defense this year, but man, Javonte Williams fell flat.
Well, okay, so I will say with him, he had 23 yards on 7 carries in the first half. And that's not great, but it's not, like, it could be worse.
But I think
And
also
then
the
second half,
usage
they
wasn't
had
great
1
either.
carry. That's what I mean. Seven carries and a half isn't even bad. He had 1 carry, 0 targets in the second half.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's like, wait, where is the game plan? And I mean, the other running back, Jaleel McLaughlin, didn't do that good either. Like, it wasn't.
But he also, I think, has the third down role, and I don't think this Broncos offense is going to be good, which means they're mostly going to be playing from behind, I think, or a lot of the time, and so they're not going to be running the ball in the second half.
That is fair. I'm just in Nick Chubb waiting room.
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand that. Absolutely.
Running back 2 is overrated.
Even if Chubb fucking sucks, like, hey, he's gonna be better than. Yeah, he's gonna be better than Javonte. I agree with that.
Other than that, I think the only takeaway is Jordan Love's hurt. That sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we just like ban getting hurt? It's
like
so
this idea.
it's so unfun. It's absolutely the worst part of fantasy. I know it's like a key component because it forces you to make moves, but god damn it, it's just so depressing. It's especially in the like literally the last play of the fucking game, or the second to last play of the game.
yeah.
And he looked decent. If like for fantasy purposes, he looked decent. Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself. I hate injuries. Injuries fucking suck.
All right, let's go Steele versus Justin. This one was an interesting one.
This was spicy as hell.
Because I think
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I was so fucking hyped for this, but not for the reasons you think. It was because this was how I got to 6-0. I'm like, okay, Benglewood's gonna beat me. I'm okay with that. But I really wanted to go 6-0 and not 5-1. And I see Steele, all of a sudden his kicker is just popping off, inching closer and closer. I'm like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And Steele had like a 25-30%, according to Yahoo, of course, which is terrible. But he had a pretty low chance to win. And Jake Moody, 26 points. Steele,
Absolutely
let's go,
fucking
baby.
insane.
Keeping the dream alive. Give me that 6-0.
4
like
field
it.
goals of 40 or more yards.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Kickers kind of just went off this week in general.
Yeah. I mean, that was the only reason I was in my game, too, because my team was pretty trash, and I had a 22-point kicker and still couldn't win. But whatever.
But do you think this week was really interesting? Because, like, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce is kind of like the core of the team, right? That duo,
Yeah.
the stack. And it didn't even do that well this week. I mean, it was like 21 points combined, 22.
Pretty bad for fantasy purposes, especially where he drafted him. I think it'll get better. I think Patrick Mahomes will definitely get better for fantasy reasons and just in general. But, I mean, he'll get more touchdowns, right? Because obviously he had 291 passing yards, still a decent amount. He'll get more touchdowns. But I don't know if they're going to Kelce. Because they have a lot of options now. Rashee Rice is good. Xavier Worthy's a really good. I don't know if he's kind of a gadget option. And then, yeah, Kelce is. I guess Kelce is good, but he's not. Yeah, but you're not starting him, so he only got like 2 passes too. But he did well on your bench. But yeah, I don't know. I'm lukewarm. I'm tepid. I'm very tepid on this. On his Chiefs stack, which just a couple years ago was potentially the best stack in fantasy football, and is now a little bit mid.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I mean, I did on our power ranking show. One reason I like this team a lot was I thought Chris Godwin was going to be one of the better number 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, and there you go. They went to the moon.
Yeah, he was. I mean, just watching that game, he looked just like old Chris Godwin finally. It's like, oh yeah, this dude's an incredible like route runner when he's healthy. It's kind of crazy.
I'm stupid because I thought I'm like I think Chris Godwin will have a bounce back here, but I wasn't sure with Baker, and I mean maybe we're wrong. Maybe this is I think he's still gonna have a good year. Maybe it's like not as good as this just because he is the number 2 and they were against Washington. And it's still Baker Mayfield. Like maybe Baker Mayfield has a couple of down weeks, but yeah, this looked pretty good, and I feel pretty bad. I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah, I think that's Godwin and Aaron Jones played pretty shit teams,
Yeah,
and so it's like, oh, we're really how is this replicable? We'll see in the next coming weeks.
yeah.
But,
Think
yeah,
I think for the running backs, this is kind of what I expected. Maybe a little higher for Aaron Jones, but especially first week of the season, they're both talented players, right? They're both talented players. David Montgomery is a good offense, even if he's splitting work. But they are getting older, so I think if you're gonna have a week like this, it's gonna be week 1, and then overall maybe they start to go down a little bit. But this is one of the reasons why I picked Steele to win because I'm like, I think Jamar Chase will be okay. His Chiefs stack will be decent, which I guess it was meh. And then his running backs are going to play about as good as they're going to play all season. I don't know if his running backs are going to get better than this in the aggregate, right? Total points in his running back 1 and 2. But definitely, I guess, better than I expected for the entire season.
yeah, you may be right about that. On the other side, Justin's team. I mean, he scored pretty well, right? He was the highest scoring loser of the week. Anthony Richardson is Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
Yeah, he went 9 of 19 for 212 yards. I don't think the Houston defense is very good, so I guess we'll see if this is going to keep happening or if this is just like a random Anthony Richardson and Alec Pierce fun time.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think if you're Justin, you're overall pretty happy about your performance, even if you lose, right? It's just week 1. I think, right, yeah, Richardson's going to be something. I don't know what, but he's going to be something. I think his receivers are good. I think his running backs for the first half of the season are going to be good. Brock Bowers is surprisingly great for a tight end. I mean, not saying like he put up stellar numbers, but because tight ends were god-awful this week, he actually could be something you rely on, which is pretty good. Again, I don't think his flex is good. And I think he's definitely worried about most of it. But yeah, I think if you're Justin and you're willing to make some moves, especially looking forward to try and improve your team when they could fall off, I think you're pretty happy even if you lose.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two big bright spots, Brock Bowers, like you said, 8 targets. It's a really good number for a tight end, especially a receiving tight end. And then I think Nico Collins basically confirmed that he's the number 1 in Houston, and so I think it's a great option to have as your number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
But yeah, the running backs are going to be thin. Ezekiel Elliott got points.
He got a touchdown. I don't know. It's like. Yeah. It's like roll them out every other 3 weeks or something, and you'll be fine. But I don't know.
Yeah, but take a hard pass on that one.
Yeah, definitely needs to make some moves for running backs. But other than that, I think he's in a pretty decent spot. I like his team. I like where I ranked him because I don't know, maybe he'll be a little higher than 9 where I officially ranked him, but I'm pretty. It's about what I'm getting is about what I'm feeling right now. Yeah, so or what I was feeling.
All right, let's go on to the last one. It was B-Way taking out Wyatt. There's a lot of shit talk around this matchup.
Oh my.
Yeah, Alex's team. Some teams had him number 1. I think I had him number 2. You had him number 8. So there was a lot of differences. I don't think this was a bad week by any means. Like 104 is not. But it just wasn't. Yeah, only A.J. Brown really inspired a lot of confidence.
And this is, I mean, I know I got a lot of shit for it, but this is kind of what I was expecting. Now, granted, he's got some good bench players, but this is kind of what I was expecting when I ranked him 8. So I think, but yeah, then again, his bench looks pretty solid. I think if you have Brian Thomas Jr. and Zach Moss, even if you have to deal with Terry McLaurin, And I guess Dalton Schultz, which is maybe now Colby Parkinson. I don't know. But if you have to deal with them, I think you're feeling a little bit better with this. But yeah, I think they performed about exactly as I would have expected. So I'm gonna do a little, because my team was trash, which I am gonna feel bad for, and I got some injuries. But I'm gonna do a little victory lap in my head because I think I actually called this one pretty decently, or at least for week one. I'm overreacting maybe, but at least for week one.
I do think the Zay Flowers point is like an interesting one to look at because he had 10 targets, right? He was the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, him and like Likely.
Yeah.
But he's against a pretty tough Chiefs defense. He just wasn't able to convert it into a lot. And so I'm wondering, the target sign is really good for like a bounce back next week against Vegas, who I don't think is very good.
No, they suck
at all.
Their defensive line is pretty solid. Yeah, but their offense is god awful.
Yeah, and then Kyrie Williams was also didn't have the easiest matchup. The Lions have a pretty good defensive front, and so I think there's a lot of room to work with, like a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, and right, you can still work on upgrading your tight end as well, which I guess was once again decent for this week, bad in general, I think.
Yeah, I am scared about the flex slot though. I mean, like Brian Thomas is not someone I would want to start every week.
I think it's probably Zach Moss right now. If I'm Wyatt, I'm probably starting Zach Moss over Terry McLaurin. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's dependent
Zach
on
Moss into the Chiefs. It sounds like a really tough matchup.
Yeah, but
and Zach Moss is notorious for getting injured every single season.
I mean, at least for right now, I just really don't like Terry McLaurin, which showed, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I think the level of targets for Zay Flowers is really good. I think the one thing, it was a Chiefs defense, which is tough. They were pretty easy targets. There wasn't anything in the middle of the field, or like mid-range, I guess. They took a couple of shots, which is pretty much Zay Flowers' game, right? It's a couple of shots downfield, and everything else is like right at the line of scrimmage and see what he can do, which is fine, right? It's not it could give him a decent floor, which it did this week, which I think is good. And then I guess he goes to the moon. You'll get a like 20-point week, which is pretty good. I don't know if he's like a alpha prototype alpha wide receiver, but yeah, he'll be decent. I like him.
One thing I'll say about McLaurin is he burned one of the Bucs corners, and was wide open down the sideline, and Jaden Daniels overthrew on a 75-yard touchdown play.
Yeah.
That obviously it would have won Wyatt the week.
Yeah.
But Jaden Daniels, and I think that's going to cap his production, is if Jaden Daniels can't throw the ball downfield,
right, or doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then B-Way's team.
Yeah, it is a great week from B-Way.
Yeah, I mean Alvin Kamara to me was a big one because again he had rushing efficiency, which he's not had in years. A lot of his work has been no, I'm serious. A lot of his work has been receiving.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you, but it's funny because like it's just like he was old, and then all of a sudden he went into the Lazarus pit or something. I don't know, and now he can run again. I don't know what's going on.
Or he's just against the Panthers. There is always that option.
Yeah, that's also very possible.
But then, I mean, yeah, James Conner, I was really high on him going into this season, so that was a great look. This is a mid-week from Dak, obviously. He didn't have to do anything because the game was over in like 5 seconds. But yeah, I think this team is looking up to me, assuming health.
I see, yeah. Health, I think, is the big key because what I talked about, obviously going in, and which, again, why I was getting some shit for this pick, is because I felt like his team was old. Once again, this is why I picked him to win against Wyatt this week because I think the upside of his team is pretty decent. I think he's got some really good players. And in week one, right, you get Kamara and you get James Conner, especially in decent matchups. Or I guess Carolina was in a decent matchup for Kamara. Deebo Samuel, like going out there, I guess, with Ayuk kind of being out. I was like, okay. Oh, I guess and Tyreek against Jacksonville. I was like, okay, yeah, I think he's gonna have a good week. And he's really got some good players. Just hoping he doesn't get any injuries, which I'm predicting will happen, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. My team sucks, so I'm gonna be wrong. Seriously, I was right about everything this week. Except for my own fucking. Well, and I guess I was right about my own team, but not to the level of. Never mind. Whatever. You get the idea. I'm just gonna kill myself now. But yeah, so I like his team. I think going forward, this is about near where his ceiling is, though. Obviously, you could improve Dak's points by a lot, but I don't know if there's gonna be another week where if you get that pop off from Dak, if you can also get everyone else to stay where they are. Like I feel like this is near a ceiling performance for maybe not Debo. Like I mean close. Obviously not Tyreek. Tyreek can do better, but like maybe Kamara, maybe James Conner. I that's what I think anyway.
Yeah. I think the question here, Devontae Adams, for BYU is going to be a pretty big question mark. Ladd McConkey did lead the team, the Chargers in targets this week, which is a solid pickup.
That's something.
But yeah, I mean, ideally you want Devontae Adams to be a good flex player, and if he's going to get out-targeted by Brock Bowers,
yeah,
that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, and honestly, I think, Ladd getting good targets, Tyler Lockett still being alive, he was the number one receiver for the week for the Seahawks, Khalil Shakir getting decent targets and a touchdown. So, I think B-Way's flex prospects. That's fucking weird in my mouth. Flex prospects are actually like pretty decent, even if Devontae Adams ends up being not great or mid. I guess he's gonna be decent. He's gonna be mid at worst, probably.
Then my final note on this game: BYU is the only player to have an active player on the roster who was inactive by coach's decision. In Vidal, what's his first name?
Kimani Vidal. You're right. I was wondering what happened to him.
Yeah. So do you remember that Garrett's two running backs that are in are his only two running backs that play? So that would be the other concern on this team.
Right. I forgot about that. Kind of important.
All right.
B-Way's legendary 7th round pick, Kimani Vidal.
I can't. Oh my god. Okay. Let's move on to week 2. We have our pick'ems ready. Pick your favorite matchup of the week. Just one that you want to, I don't know, what looks fun, what looks interesting to you.
What looks interesting? I think if CMC plays, probably Becca versus Trisha, my 1 and 2. But I don't think CMC's going to play. But I'll talk about it anyway because I think it's interesting. Because, once again, if Trisha has another good week, that's going to be pretty good. But also, Becca has shown that her team is so good that she doesn't even necessarily need good running backs. I somehow DeAndre Swift and Chase Brown is actually a better running back room than DeAndre Swift and Braylon Allen.
Shocking.
And she won last week, and once again got third in points. So I'm not going to count her out. Obviously she has a good Ayuk could bounce back. Josh Allen's against Miami. That sounds like he might dice them up. It would not surprise me. So yeah, right. Ayuk bounce back. Josh Allen's in Miami. Rashee Rice does Rashee Rice things. Stephon Diggs. Maybe Stephon Diggs is the one who falls, right? Or her defense. Maybe Dallas doesn't get 17 points. But even Ingram could get better than 1 point. I don't know. I think she's gonna put up a good week, but it's against Trisha, who popped the fuck off last week. And other than Kenneth Walker, I don't know what gets much worse. I mean, she could obviously it could have been a ceiling case last week, but it might just be a little bit lower.
Do you think CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, the Bears defense, is pretty good? And they were against a pretty shit Titans defense. They were against the Colts, who also aren't that good. Mm-hmm. Chicago played the Titans and kind of destroyed Will Levis. I mean, obviously, Will Levis and CJ Stroud are not comparable.
If we could somehow, and I know it's already been posted in Discord, if we could somehow edit the memes of Will Levis on his knees after throwing a pick in here, that would be amazing. Becca was showing me this, and it was so funny.
I think that's going to be the thumbnail for today's episode. It's like me looking at my fantasy team after week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. It's
And you watch the play, and it's actually funnier because you're like, you did what?
right. I didn't even watch the play. I just
Oh, he like scrambles to the left and is about to get sacked, so he tries to shovel pass it to get out of bounds past the sideline, or it's like a sidearm or a
pass it out of bounds.
It's like a shovel pass, or like a really heavy like sidearm, and it just goes straight to the Bears defender. It like hovers in the air, just like floats right into the Bears defender hand, pick six. Are you? And that's when he's like, "Oh no!" it was.
At least from the pictures, it appeared that he could have made a tackle on the play too, and instead of making a tackle, he just gets down on his knees.
No, he was already on the ground. He was getting sacked.
Oh, okay,
he was already on the ground. He probably just looked up and was like, "Oh fuck!"
I see. It looks like he fell to his knees. That's so funny.
But yeah, it's tough. Back to the matchup.
Yeah,
I think Trisha has a really good.
I'm sorry. What? This week. I'm sorry. What?
I think.
Can you say that louder? Can you say that louder?
The team that I ranked number 9 has a very good matchup this week, and will get the W.
Yeah.
I think Trisha just called me a bitch from the other room. I can't tell.
Yeah, you probably are. Becca's not gonna watch this podcast. If she does, I'm sorry. I think her team's really, really good, but CMC's hurt, and she's against potentially the best team in the league. Kind of, or at least the team to score a lot. So it's hard for me to say that she's going to win. But I think it'll be a really high-scoring matchup. Really high-scoring matchup, and there's definitely a potential for both teams to win. But I'll pick Trisha on this.
Yeah, obviously if CMC's playing.
Oh yeah, if CMC's playing, yeah. I might switch this.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think either way, I think it's the best matchup of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the winner from that one is going to be the one that's like swinging their dick around.
Wait. So I know we're like locking in our pick'ems before, but if CMC plays on a Sunday, can we swap pick'ems? How does this work? Even if Thursday matchups already go through?
Normally I say no. If you want to qualify it, you can, but you need to qualify it now.
I'm locking it in now. If CMC plays, I'm locking in now that Becca wins. If CMC does not play, I think it's Trisha. That's what I'm locking in.
We'll take it. Okay, I think next. Yeah, I mean that one's gonna be a fun one no matter what. I think.
Yeah.
I think the next one that I like is Bengi versus Wyatt. I think it's a pretty solid one. Yahoo agrees. The projection is 0.16 off right now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just looked at Wyatt's lineup and he moved AJ Brown to flex for some reason, and I was like,
I also saw that, and I don't know why. I think it's because he's playing a Monday night game, but at the same time, what?
I don't know. I guess why not would be the question. Like,
because you can move him back to wide receiver and get the Terry McLaurin the fuck out of your lineup.
That's a good point. I think he's probably scared to play like Zach Moss and Brian Thomas because the matchups aren't that good this week. I don't know.
Yep.
You know what? I'm letting you cook. This one looks to be a pretty fun one. I think that like no one has terrible matchups except for maybe DK Metcalf again. And so
yeah.
I think a lot of these players could go wild.
But honestly, I don't even know if it matters because if Cooper Kupp's going to get 21 targets and 25 points, right? 21 targets, like 100 yards and a touchdown. We're half PPR. That's disgusting. Yeah, that's absolutely gross. Especially with this running back room. Completely fucking gross right now.
On the other hand, think of what George Pickens was able to do against Atlanta last week, where he got open several times downfield.
Yeah,
now replace George Pickens with A.J. Brown.
That's fair.
And with Jalen Hurts at quarterback.
That's fair. Oh, boy, I have no idea now.
And suddenly you have... And that's Kirk Cousins in a primetime game, too, so he could completely shit the bed. And the Eagles could have just scoring opportunity after scoring opportunity.
Boy. Man, I don't know anymore. Fuck. I don't know. I think these are pretty comparable teams. I think it will be very interesting if either of them make either a flex or if Wyatt makes a tight end change. Because, look, both of them have potential flex players on their bench. And their current, I don't know. I'm calling Terry McLaurin a flex play. I don't care if he's in the wide receiver 2 spot. I think both of their flex plays are potentially questionable. Calvin Ridley's against the Jets. They're probably gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm definitely playing Najee over.
Yeah, Najee with the floor. I mean, he's against Denver. Najee with the floor. Even J.K. Dobbins against Carolina.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I mean,
J.K. Dobbins too.
Right.
God damn.
Right, and it's right now it's a thunderstorm game. That could be a handoff to J.K. 15 times and watch him go vroom.
That could be. That's every game for the Chargers apparently this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
See, I don't want to make Banglewood's flex decision for him, but Banglewood, could you please make this so I know what you're actually gonna, what to pick?
Yeah, and on the other hand, I think Tua could have a good game against Buffalo. Like Buffalo's defense did inspire a lot of confidence. It's at home.
Yeah.
Man, I'm wavering. God, we should have saved this one for last because I have no idea who to predict.
I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray that that Banglewood puts in J.K. Dobbins, probably over Najee, and obviously over Calvin Ridley, and that Banglewood wins this. I mean, I'm not praying that Banglewood wins this. I'm picking that Banglewood wins this. I'm praying that he puts in J.K. to make the decision a lot easier for me.
Okay, yeah, that. Yeah. I think I think I'm also. I had Wyatt initially, but I think Cooper Kupp swings it for me. I think I just until Puka comes back, and even then, maybe after Puka's here,
right?
I think that Cooper Kupp's just going to go crazy. And Arizona's defense was not good last week.
Yep. And I guess there's a chance that Achan's hurt, and yeah, I don't know. I think this team. I think this team healthy, if he fixes his flex, is kind of insane right now, and I don't really like it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you told me Wyatt wins, I could see it too. I mean,
right? I wouldn't.
Yeah, there's so much pop-off potential.
Yep.
I think one of our worst matchups, if we want to just get this one out of the way, is me versus Spencer. It's pretty fucking atrocious.
You know what? I'm not sure I'm going to disagree with you there. You're starting Caleb Williams with a grand total of 93 passing yards in his NFL debut. That is incredible.
It was a rough showing, but like my team, like my fantasy team, DCD's nuts.
Oh,
Caleb Williams experienced a lot of adversity in week 1.
Yeah.
DCD's nuts lost their starting quarterback.
That's
Caleb
true.
Williams lost his balls and everyone's hope in his ability to play football.
That's true.
But what do good teams, what do good players, what do the best do?
They persevere in the long term, but not immediately after, where they probably lose this week.
They fight. They persevere. They come back.
Yeah.
And secure the dub. They don't eat it because Jameis Winston is not here.
Come so hard, blow their backs.
Come so hard, blow their backs. Sure. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be starting for me on Sunday after all that. But if he does.
Now, Travis, I don't know if I should be helping you here. I want to shed some light on some potential waiver wire pickups for you.
I looked and I just wasn't inspired.
You weren't inspired by the fact that Wyatt just dropped Matthew Stafford?
Well, that happened after I looked.
Yeah.
So.
He might have just saved your matchup, my friend.
It is possible.
Yeah. That sounds pretty juicers.
But yeah, I think Spencer is going to have a bounce back. I think he's going to win this one. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't even think we need to talk about Spencer's team that much. I'm picking Spencer. I think Ramondre is going to fall off, but I think every single one of his other players is going to bounce back pretty hard, and I think they're just straight up better ripperiness.
Mood as fuck.
Also, Spencer, start Jaden Daniels, please.
I didn't say this, Trey McBride had 5 catches in the first half last week and ended with 5 catches. So if Kyler Murray could not shit the bed in the second half, really appreciated.
I mean, you say that, and yet Trey McBride is by far the best tight end, maybe other than Sam Laporta, that anyone has available to them.
Yeah, tight ends suck. I think
tight
that's
ends are butts.
All right. I don't know. What are you vibing with?
What other matchups am I vibing with? You know what? I want to talk about Stelio Tarleton. I want to talk about Stelio because Stelio, I think, has a lot of things. Right? He always does well at the beginning of the season. I'm not every single time, and I think because he does the same thing over and over. He picks very similar things, very unconventional picks that somehow pop off, but he somehow gets lucky, but then he kind of falls apart because his bench isn't well put together and he doesn't manage his roster very well. But it doesn't matter. I'm hoping that continues and he gets better and better and he doesn't fall off because I think he's got a really, really solid starting roster, and that definitely showed because he is second in the league after his kicker got 26 points. Baltimore's against Las Vegas, by the way. So, I think it's still the beginning of the year. I think Steele's team is still looking pretty solid. Oh, my God, he's starting Alan Lazard.
I was about to point that part. But he is starting Alan Lazard, who had 9 targets last week and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Which is probably all that Steele looked at to make this decision.
Absolutely. No, he saw the points. He probably saw the points and was like, oh, I'm picking this.
And look, you know what? Maybe
we're wrong. Maybe
Tennessee does have... Who's the corner that played for the Chiefs?
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I know. I can't think of his name right now. But I know who you're talking about.
He's a really good corner.
Oh, L'Jarius Sneed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so maybe Steele's giga-brain logic is you put L'Jarius Sneed on Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard's running free on the other side.
I'm sure that's exactly what was going through Steele's head. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. But also T. Higgins could actually play. He might not. But if he does, I would maybe think that would be better. Also, maybe not, though. Maybe he's still hurt and he's bad. But
he did not practice today. That's not a great sign.
Yeah, but it's a Sunday game. He's probably not going to play. Anyway, I don't know who else he starts. So I guess this is his best lineup. And, other than Alan Lazard is a little iffy, I think it might not be the worst. Just once again, we are hoping that Steele doesn't have any injuries because I think it goes south from there. Oh, wait, also Aaron Jones is playing San Francisco. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop discovering things. Let's talk about Justin's team. What do you think about Justin's team?
This is Brett.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brett's team. See, I don't know if that was Justin's team.
I really like Brett's team this week.
Really?
Yeah, even though I ranked him 11th, I'm going to give you guys a spoiler. I picked him to win this matchup. I think they're going to need Chris Olave a little more this week than last.
Yep.
And I think the Cardinals need to fucking throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. I know he had one big drop, but, come on. Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown. Big things are happening. Joe Mixon and Breece Hall. Deadly.
Yep.
I don't know. I think I surprisingly looked at this and I was like, I think I'm going to pick Brett.
It's hard for me because I agree with you. I think his receivers are going to bounce back, but after how bad they were last week, it's so hard for me to bank on that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel a little bit better that Kyle Pitts was something and that his running backs were really, really good. But we asking for basically 3 bounce backs for his wide receivers is a lot. Maybe we get 1 or 2, but fuck, that's tough. But then again, right, if we get 1 or 2, that's approximately what Steele's team is because I think his running backs are better than Steele's team. Even if he's a little worse elsewhere. So, yeah, I think it should be it could be a solid matchup, right? It could also be, Steele runs away with it because they don't have a bounce back, and these wide receivers are terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like it's either Brett wins like a close one or Steele just blows the doors off. Because I mean, we could see Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce return to form since Cincy's defense was fine last week, but they played against Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this should be a good one. I feel like all of the matchups are pretty decent this week, which is kind of nice, except maybe our last one of the week, but I'm not sure, or one of the last two of the week.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm going to pick Steele, not because I think Brett's team is, well, I mean, it could be. I just don't want to bet on his receivers, and because last week he did get a really good case from his running backs, and I mean, his receivers are really bad, so if they bounce back, that's a really good thing. But because I'm basically shown that his running backs cannot, in fact, carry him, right? Even though they're so good, the rest of his team is so questionable. I don't know if they can carry him. Where Steele has a lot more solid pieces that, because it's the beginning of the season, I'm not as concerned about right now. Which is funny because I picked Steele. I thought Steele's draft was a lot lower, and I thought Brett's draft was a lot higher. But I guess that was also before I realized that his wide receivers were god awful. But then again, over time, I think maybe Brett's team is better, especially if he can put some of these wide receivers together. But yeah, I'll pick Steele here.
Hey, do you want to do you next, or do you want to save yours for last?
No,
we'll
save it for last.
Reeves versus.
Oh, fine. Okay, all right.
Reeves versus Justin. I do not know what to make of this matchup because I liked your team way more than I liked Justin's team. I still do.
Really?
Sort of. not particularly without Puka
Nakua.
But I like a lot of the depth of your team. But then Justin's team was really good last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think our teams are kind of flipped, where Justin's team could be decent this week, but not really have any bench whatsoever. And I feel like my bench, at least going forward, is getting stronger and stronger. But unfortunately, for this week, my starting roster is a little bit questionable. Now, obviously, if CMC doesn't play, I think that boosts my lineup considerably, because I am absolutely locking Jordan Mason in. And that should help me out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Mason, maybe if you decide to play Isaiah Likely, could be impactful in this one.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what I'm gonna do with Likely. My mindset was I was maybe gonna think about just putting him on the bench and seeing what happens. Because, watching some of the film, both Likely was really, really good, but also Mark Andrews was double covered a lot. So, I don't know. It's tough for me. I think maybe I might just keep Likely on the bench and see how Kincaid does, and then make a decision. But because I want to make sure I'm really solid at tight end. But I don't know what I'm gonna do this week yet. We'll see.
I think Anthony Richardson is going to be the quarter. I mean, really, I think both quarterbacks have insane potential this week. Green Bay's defense was not that good last week. The Eagles are better than the Colts, but it could still happen. And then Las Vegas's defense, we already kind of talked about them. Lamar could go crazy this week.
Yeah.
And then I also think the defenses. I think one of these defenses is going to go crazy. We don't know how good Minnesota actually is because they played the fucking Giants.
Right.
And then we know how bad Tennessee is because Will Levis sucks.
But...
And so if one of these defenses goes for 15 points, I'm not really going to be shocked.
This is so tough.
I did pick Justin.
Yeah. It's hard for me to pick my team because I'm once again betting on wide receiver bounce back. Even if Jordan Mason plays well, I could get a Kincaid bounce back, and I could get Jordan Mason to play, and I could get one of my. I mean, Pickens doesn't need a bounce back, but he is against Denver. Obviously, I need a bounce back from Drake London. But I think Justin's probably a little more reliable. I don't think I'm completely out of it. I think if Jordan Mason plays and if I get 1 or 2 bounce backs, I could absolutely win this. But I'm going to pick Justin. I think the only person on his roster that is just straight up bad is Michael Pittman.
Okay, that's my guy. He did have 8 targets last week.
Okay, how many catches?
4 for 31 yards.
There were 9 completions in the entire offense, Travis. Receptions don't mean anything.
You're right. Okay, our final matchup this week. I've been forgetting to read the other guys' picks, so I'll read them at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. They're not important. They're not here.
Our final matchup, Biz versus B-Way. Biz was the most underperforming player last week, while B-Way was one of the stars.
Yep.
So we're going to see if Biz is able to bounce back, or if Garrett's just going to continue popping off.
Yep.
Also, Tyreek has a projection of 17.5. That's insane.
That sounds about right. Yeah, Yahoo loves like the top 1, 2, or 3 players. They will just, they'll just take it up the ass for them. They love it.
Yeah.
Which helps B-Way's Yahoo projection case. I think it helps his team pretty well too, because that is very possible that he could actually get an expected 17 points on average.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think for B-Way, I expect to see Alvin Kamara come back to earth a little bit. Dallas defense is a lot harder to play against than Carolina.
Yes.
This could be one of those games, though, where Kamara gets like 7 check down passes and ends up with a good fantasy day even without being efficient on the ground. But,
yeah, in fact, that's probably what it's going to be. All right, where it's what we thought Kamara was going to be the entire time. He's going to end up with like 10 points just because he has so many targets, and he's not going to have a touchdown, and he's not going to run the ball that much, or not to run the ball well.
Yeah, and then, James Conner did destroy the Rams this week on the ground. Or not, he destroyed... Or, I'm sorry, the Lions destroyed the Rams on the ground.
They did. They fucking, yeah.
Yeah, and I think James Conner could do the same this week.
Probably, yep.
He's kind of in that David Montgomery, like, bigger bulldozing back model, too, so...
Yep.
It speaks pretty well for them. On the other side, though, I think Biz has some decent matchups. Devonta Smith and Malik Neighbors are against defenses that I don't think are very good.
I'd like to remind you, though, she's still starting Zamir White against Baltimore. I know Biz has been working, and she works an interesting shift, and maybe sometimes doesn't check this league because she's in a lot of weird, strange leagues where some of them seem to be a lot easier than ours. But, Biz, I'm going to need you to make this change so I know what to do with your team.
Yeah, if she doesn't start Jameson Williams, she's absolutely griefing, I think.
Yeah, and Jameson Williams is questionable.
Okay, I guess that isn't a reason.
Yeah, so...
he's literally back for one fucking game and gets hurt again. Are we kidding me?
Yeah, that's a lull. Whether he can, keep up his production is... obviously a question mark, but if he can, she really needs a pop-off wide receiver. With that being said, I don't know if she has enough players, or she needs a lot of players to bounce back. A lot of players. Like out of all these people that need bounce backs, her entire team needs a bounce back. She needs a Joe Burrow bounce back. She needs Devontae Smith. He didn't really play poorly, but he needs him to really go to the moon. I just don't really know if Malik Neighbors can play all that well. Josh Jacobs has no quarterback. Sam Laporta needs a bounce back. If she starts Zamir White needs a back. Against Baltimore, I don't know. I think it's a B-way angle. Even if Kamara is worse on the ground, he's probably going to get catches, and James Conner's going to do well. And as long as no one gets hurt in the middle of his games, I think this is a pretty easy B-way win, except for Devontae Adams probably is not going to be that great. I don't really like Devontae Adams this week against Baltimore. Maybe he'll be okay, but...
I think I agree with you. I will say Josh Jacobs won. Houston destroyed Indianapolis on the ground last week. So that's a good matchup for him. 2, not having a quarterback could actually help.
I think it'll be good for his floor and not good for his ceiling because he won't be able to get the touchdowns.
That is fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm picking B-Way as well.
Yeah.
You picked Justin, right?
I did pick Justin, yes, because my team is terrible. Well, terrible for the time being. My team is great. If anyone wants to trade with me, you can reach me at Himmler's Wet Dream. That is at Himmler's Wet Dream. I'm willing to trade away anyone and everyone. Please reach me at you can suck these nuts at AOL.com. Thank you.
So if you're at Himmler's Wet Dream, who is Roxavian McWilliams?
Roxavian's my alter ego.
Okay.
Himmler's Wet Dream is what I am when I'm going to when I'm out in the town and my social settings. Roxavian McWilliams is my my superhero alter ego.
Okay. I just need to clarify because it's a little confusing, you know.
I completely understand. It's very important. Yes, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Who is Roxavian McWilliams? I don't know.
I'm not Clark Kent.
I'm Spartacus.
All right, just to recap, and I will throw in Wyatt and Bangy's picks in here. In the matchup of me versus Spencer, I picked Spencer. Wyatt picked Spencer. Alex picked me. And Reeves picked Spencer. You guys are cringe, even though I also picked Spencer. In the matchup of Bangy versus YY, a little podcast matchup, I picked Alex. Wyatt picked Wyatt. Alex picked Alex. And Reeves picked Alex. So Wyatt's lone wolfing it there. In the matchup of Brett versus Steele, I picked Brett. Wyatt picked Brett. Alex picked Steele. And Reeves picked Steele. In Becca versus Trisha, I picked Trisha. Wyatt picked Trisha. Alex picked Becca. And Reeves picked Trisha unless CMC plays because he's a pussy and can't make the call ahead of time.
Supposed to know if the best player in fantasy is going to play or not?
It's a skill issue, Reeves.
Wow. Okay, skill issue. What was your record last week?
1-0.
I'm going to kill myself now. I meant in pick'ems.
Oh, in pick'ems. Okay, in the matchup of Biz versus B-Way, B-Way has a clean sweep. All four hosts picked B-Way. I think it's our first clean sweep of the year, if I remember.
All.
We all picked Becca last week, actually.
Oh yeah, watch us all whiff on that one too.
Wait, is it? Oh, we all picked Steele last week as well. Jeez. Okay, that was kind of clean. Okay, and finally, Reeves versus Justin. I picked Justin. Wyatt picked Justin. Alex picked Reeves. And Reeves picked Justin. So yeah, that's our pick'ems. We will be back next week. Some combination of us. I'll actually be leaving town at some point, so who knows if I'll be here.
No.
But someone will be here for the next episode of the SimStation Internet Football Podcast. Reeves, do you have anything to say on our way out?
Not really. Oh, thanks for having me, Travis. I really enjoyed. Please don't cut me off. I really enjoyed being here. And my team sucks, so please. It sucks for the time being. So anyone, please trade me.
Yes, I would like someone to trade me Josh Allen. I have an Xavier Worthy to trade for.
Right. Would you like a injured Puka Nacua for potentially a non-injured Puka Nacua? Does that exist?
What a deal. All right, we will see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.